Most of the second and third theories mentioned above regarded education in a positive sense. I can remember back in the 50s, for example, that the government, federal government, wanted to promote science in the schools and more science teachers because the Russians had put up Sputnik. And what they did is they gave grants and other kinds of monies directly to schools to support this endeavor. And I can remember when I went to the University of Iowa in 1962 for my undergraduate program that I was actually able to get an NDEA, a National Defense Loan, because I was going into teaching. This was a very positive way of support for education, and it had been that way for some time. However, during the Reagan administration, that changed. Reagan, in fact, wanted to eliminate the Department of Education out of the cabinet. But unfortunately for him, and unfortunately for the rest of us, in about 1983, the famous report, that was a nationally generated report developed by a sort of gold-plated committee, published Nation at Risk. And the name ought to say it all. It meant that the nation was at risk because of its poor education. And Reagan, when he was faced with that, decided that he better not eliminate the Department of Education from the cabinet, and so there it stayed. What ended up happening is that Nation at Risk, I believe, became sort of the first shot in the war against education, in that many reports after that continued the trend of attacking education instead of supporting it. It has taken many guises, but today education is under unprecedented attacks, and to me, as an educator since 1967, absolutely unbelievable. We have gone from being paragons of virtue to those who are being reviled. And we're doing this in the name of national reform. The latter part of the chapter reviews many reform efforts, but is sadly behind, since under the guise of No Child Left Behind, severe damage is being done on a daily basis all over the country. In Indiana, for example, attacks via new state legislation are so numerous, the law changes almost daily. At this point, we will break for a third discussion question, which is, what is the current trend in school improvement philosophies, and what effect are these philosophies having on the public school system? What I'm interested in knowing here is, what are you folks facing out there in the trenches based on what school improvement means in your area? And what effect are these philosophies having on public schools where you are?